For the 2.8 million residents of the busy city of Guayaquil, life dramatically changed at the beginning of this year.
On January the 9th, at exactly 8 minutes past 2 p.m., a group of criminals entered the TC television studios. There were 13 in total. They held journalists here. Others entered the offices and they took them hostage along with colleagues who were live on air in the studio.
The perpetrators were between 16 and 25 years old. They are believed to be members of the Tiburones gang.
In the days leading up to the event, messages were circulating on social media. The gangs were saying, "We're not just any criminal gang, we're the mafia, and we work for drug cartels and so on." We think that was the message they wanted to get across on air.
But the arrival of police foiled the original plan.
What we finally saw was a much stronger message than what they could have said in words.
How would you sum up this message?
Chaos. They wanted to show chaos.
The perpetrators tried to escape, but the studio had no way out. They eventually surrendered. On the same day, other gangs attacked a hospital, a university and prisons in Guayaquil. Organised crime is challenging the Ecuadorian state like never before. The attack on TC television saw 0 casualties, but left an impactful message in people's minds.
Shots here, here, up there are 2.
Faced with the violence, President Daniel Noboa, elected in 2023, declared a state of emergency and internal conflict. From then on, the army had more power to intervene, especially in prisons, which had become command posts for organised crime, against a backdrop of widespread corruption. In early January, Fito, the powerful leader of the Choneros gang, escaped from Guayaquil prison, just before the gang offensive. In front of the military-controlled prison complex, families are waiting for news of their locked-up relatives.
They didn't give any information. They say everything's fine. But we want to go in. We want to see them.
All we know is that they spend the day in their underpants, nothing more.
With the army, we don't know what's going on. It's worse than before.
Visits have been suspended since January.
Here, there are relatives who spend whole days waiting for information from the prisoners, days without enough to eat or drink.
Disturbing information is filtering out from the prison, like this video of shaved and beaten up inmates, which is impossible to verify.
Yesterday morning, they woke them up at dawn and beat them all up.
Ana Morales is the founder of the Families for Justice in Prisons Committee. She helps them exercise their rights. This family came from the city of Cuenca to inquire about the condition of their loved one, transferred to Guayaquil prison.
On Friday, during a hearing, he raised his hand, and it was all broken.
Did you see it?
Yes, with our own eyes at the hearing.
All they're asking is that he receive medical attention, that he has his operation. If he has to serve his sentence, let him serve it, but with dignity. Okay, write down my number, write to me and I'll give you the address.
Overnight, the prisons have gone from mafia rule to military shock therapy. In its downtown offices, the Prisoners' Defense Committee receives desperate families. It was founded after an outbreak of violence in September 2021.
These are our children. He was my son.
Most of these young people died in this massacre carried out by gangs inside the prison. It left 125 dead.
It was the first time such an inhuman act had taken place here in Ecuador. Some were not even buried whole because not all parts of their bodies were found. Most were decapitated.
Nicole lost a brother in the massacre. Now she's worried about her husband, imprisoned for drug trafficking. A fellow inmate who was recently released sent her this voicemail.
Está con tuberculosis, no sé si usted conoce esa enfermedad. Ya que ayer fue hasta que yo me vine ahorita, ayer él escupía sangre.
It used to be the mafia who gave them the medication if you paid the price. Otherwise, the inmates didn't have access to anything. But since the military took control of the prisons, he hasn't had any treatment. I can't even send him medicine from outside because the army forbids it.
An epidemic of tuberculosis is raging in overcrowded prisons. Without medication, some face the risk of death. A lawyer on the committee drafts free legal appeals for families to ensure that prisoners receive medical care, but without the guarantee of a response.
Torture and ill treatment are the result of entrusting the management of penitentiary centers to an institution that has neither the training nor the competence to do so. Our position is that it is not necessary to violate human rights to restore security and regain control of prisons.
Guayaquil has become the epicenter of the war against organized crime. With a homicide rate of 84 per 100,000 inhabitants, it is one of the most dangerous cities in South America. In recent years, drug traffickers have consolidated their power in this port city. With a river flowing into the Pacific Ocean, it is an ideal location for exporting cocaine produced in Colombia and Peru, hidden in containers or small boats. According to the authorities, two Mexican cartels are vying for control, using local gangs that have become all-powerful in low-income neighborhoods.
These criminal organizations wanted to demonstrate their strength this year. They want to show that they are cartels with economic power and with an armed wing, and that they're ready to take on the state. Worse still, they want to form a rival state.
In this district, the most violent in Guayaquil, the police are trying to win over young people. One of the ways they do this is by organizing vacation courses with a very military emphasis. On the program, martial arts and personal defense, adapted to local realities. In Guayaquil, thousands of teenagers are the young soldiers of gangs.
They're the most vulnerable ones. They want to leave home and they're influenced by the narco culture. They see joining a criminal group as an easy way to earn money and to become independent. A 12-year-old child can earn between $3,000 and $4,000 a month and is no longer interested in studying.
The state of emergency ended in April, but following a referendum organized by President Noboa, the army and police still hold special powers, both in prisons and on the streets. That evening, they arrested a group of motorcyclists. These young people had taken over an expressway to organize an illegal motorcycle race.
Where was this race going to take place?
We saw it on Facebook. We don't know anything. We just came to see, and look what happened to us.
We're in an internal armed conflict. What's going on here? Here there are gangs of delinquents and a race probably organized by the gangs, by organized crime. There's a lot going on here.
Among those captured, a 12-year-old child.
Do you know that we're in an armed conflict? Do you know what that means? We're at war here.
Since the declaration of internal conflict, Guayaquil has seen a clear drop in the number of killings, but the population continues to live in fear.
There are kidnappings, many kidnappings, and robberies, but mostly kidnappings. Children, adults, elderly, it doesn't matter. They kidnap everyone. It's very dangerous to live here. My country wasn't like this. Ecuador wasn't like this.
Javier works as a driver for a local transport platform. He was recently the victim of an express kidnapping for ransom.
You see the red light there? I was stopped like this. A car came along and blocked my way. 2 cars. One car here, another one there. 4 people got out with guns and threatened me from here, through the window and through the windscreen.
The perpetrator forced him to withdraw money, $2,000 altogether.
Then they made me unlock my phone. They called my wife and demanded a ransom of $3,000. I think even $5,000.
Everyone is affected by the main threats of kidnapping and extortion in Ecuador's economic capital.
Hola Javier, buena. Hola, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo te va? Un gusto.
He told me they stole his house. The organized gangs forced his family to leave their house to them. This is the situation in my country.
They broke into our house. We had to leave because they tried to kidnap my sister, and they put a gun to my head.
Whatever their social class, the inhabitants of Guayaquil live barricaded in their homes, often in gated communities.
My plan is to emigrate to the United States. I'm going to keep working to save money. As soon as I can, I'm going to leave with my family.
Just like Javier, many Ecuadorians dream of leaving. An increasing number take the journey to exile every day in hope of a brighter future.